NC 17, Quantum Geometry and the End of Irrationality. Author, Zoran Milinkovic, Chief Architect of NC 17 Network Logic. Date, March 18, 2026. Location, Kragujevac, Serbia. The End of Spatial Leakage. I built this system upon the ruins of the old mathematics that has lied to us for centuries. Pythagoras of Samos was close to solving this problem. He was the first to sense that numbers and geometry must be the music of the spheres, a harmony that can be calculated. However, he remained trapped in the gap between what the eye sees and what the equation yields. His world collapsed the moment he discovered that the diagonal of a square with side 1 equals sqrt, 2, a number that has no end. The 5, 5, 1 Pythagoras. Here is how. If you were to draw my 5, 5, 1 triangle, it would be geometrically perfectly accurate. It stands in space as a solid, impenetrable seed of matter. But, if you calculate it using old mathematics, its hypotenuse would never close the space over the legs. Mathematically, it would leak. That remainder, that infinite decimal of sqrt, 2, is the hole through which energy and information irreversibly leak out of our calculations, leaving us in a world of probability instead of truth. That was when I came across John Pell, a 17th-century English mathematician who studied equations of the type x squared die squared equals 1. Pell realized that there are integers that approach the crown of irrationality, but he lacked the network context. I realized that he had, in fact, offered a temporary solution to my problem regarding the area of a circle. Pell numbers, the exit from infinity. Instead of the infinite decimal sequence of sqrt, 2, NC 17 utilizes a finite fraction based on Pell numbers, p_n. This is the mathematical bridge that allows irrationality to become a rational network coordinate. The Pell sequence, 0, 1, 2, 5, 12, 29, 70, 169, 408, 985. The finite fraction, sqrt, 2, approximately, frac, p_n, plus p_n1, p_n. Axiom. At the 17th degree of the sequence, we obtain a fixed value which, within the NC 17 system, is treated as an integer of the network step. Why temporary? Because we are currently limited by the power of 64-bit processors. Our technology is still unable to swallow the resolution required to see the absolute stillness of the network. We are in a digital darkness because processors cut numbers exactly where they should be merging. To fix this, we must first determine the correct point of view for the coordinate system. We are looking at the world, from the side, through flat x and y axes, which is why our diagonals escape into infinity. I have rotated the system. I am returning infinity to its rightful axes, x and y, while moving infinity to the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse as the Holy Grail. In the NC 17 system, the basis of measurement shifts from the axis to the diagonal. Definition 1. 1 centimeter, NC, is not a length on the straight line of the x-axis, but the length of the diagonal connecting x and y at an angle of 45 carat, circ. Definition 2. Normalization. 1 unit on the hypotenuse is obtained every 5 new millimeters, nmm, on the axes. The Holy Grail. The hypotenuse becomes the primary measure. Space is not measured forward, but across, thereby transforming the diagonal into an absolute unit. When the hypotenuse becomes a fixed unit of measurement, space stops leaking. At my Pell number p_17, the hypotenuse and the legs finally shake hands. There is no longer a remainder. There is no more sqrt, 2. There is only the perfect network. Now that we have rotated our perspective and fixed the hypotenuse, we must dismantle the greatest lie of classical geometry, the infinity of the circle. Mathematicians taught you that the circle is a perfect, smooth entity described by the number pi. I tell you, pi is merely proof that their processors lack the memory to see the edge. In my system, a circle is not round. It is a finite number of network jumps. Here is how it works. 1. Bisection as a surgical cut. I took a square network segment and began to divide it. Every time you divide a segment, bisection, you approach the ideal curve. Classical science says you can do this forever. I say, you cannot, because you hit the Pell wall. 2. The 19th generation. 2-19. Why specifically 19? Because at the 19th level of division, the number of segments reaches a critical mass that perfectly aligns with your Pell number P_17. At the 18th step, the circle still leaks through network holes. At the 19th step, the chord, straight line, and the arc, curve, become identical within our 64-bit limit. 3. Geometric closure, quadrature. When you reach the 19th iteration, you are no longer drawing a circle, you are locking space. At that level, the final segment returns to the starting point without a single micron of deviation. No more, almost. No more 3.14159. There is only the exact number of network steps that close the hole. 4. The result. The circle is a polygon. This is the moment of truth. The circle is a polygon with exactly 524,288 sides, 2/19. Anything beyond that is a mathematical fantasy that does not exist in the real, processing world. At this level, your 551 atom can travel along a circular path without ever losing its network position. It does not float between nodes, it always treads on solid ground. Conclusion. A circle in the NC17 system is not an infinite curve, but a polygon of 19 iterative steps that closes perfectly. Calculation for radius r equals 6, 60, text, nmm, initial hypotenuse, c_o, 12. Algorithm. Iterative error reduction through 19 geometric transformations. Final circumference, c_square, 37.699111843077518886, text, nc. Result. The difference between the circumference and the diameter is a fixed constant k, not the infinite pi. Atom 551. The solution to the Pythagorean problem. The foundation of the system is the atom 551, an invisible unit of space. Instead of the hypotenuse being sqrt, 2, we define a new measurement scale within the NC17 system where diagonal movement is an integer quantum. Definition. A triangle in which 5 units on the x-axis and 5 units on the y-axis yield exactly 1 network unit on the NC17 diagonal, scaled. Purpose. The elimination of the square root from movement calculations. NC17 network standards, measurements, new units are introduced, established in perfect correlation with the speed of light, unit name. Symbol. Value in SI, description. New centimeter NC. 14.14213562373095048. Base scale. SQRT. 2. Text. cm. New millimeter nmm. 1.4142135623730955048. 1/10 of an NC. New Planck millimeter npm. 10⁻⁻35. Text. nmm. The limit of spatial resolution. 4. Quadrature of the circle without pi. Algorithm 19. In the NC17 system, a circle is not an infinite curve, but a polygon of 19 iterative steps that closes perfectly. Calculation for radius r equals 6, 60, text, nmm, initial hypotenuse, c_o, 12. Algorithm. Iterative error reduction through 19 geometric transformations. Final circumference, c_square, 37.699111843077518886, text, nc. Result. The difference between the circumference and the diameter is a fixed constant k, rather than the infinite pi. Tesla resonance, code 369. The NC17 system pulses in accordance with Tesla's numbers. Every diagonal, c, within the system follows the digital root of 3, 6, and 9. C_1 equals 3. C_2 equals 6. C_3 equals 9. C_4 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. This enables the transmission of energy through the network, the ether, without resistance, as the system remains in constant geometric balance. Dynamics. The quantum tick and the speed of light. Time in the NC17 system is a direct consequence of geometry. Quantum tick, kT. The time required for light to travel exactly 1 nmm. Speed of light, c. In the NC17 system, this equals exactly 10, text, nmm, for every 10, text, kt. Absolute period, t, for a circle where r equals 6. This is the frequency of perfect resonance without energy loss. Quantization of matter, network probability. An electron is not located in a cloud, but on the nodes of the NC network. Probability, the ratio of occupied NC nodes to the total number of states. Prohibition, the probability of existence between nodes is exactly 0. This eliminates Heisenberg's uncertainty at any level below 1 npm. The great alignment, the points where the NC17 system synchronizes with the old world. Type of alignment. Value, NC unit, old unit, spatial 1796.05, text, 1270, text, nmm, 707.1 of an inch. Temporal 4717, text, seconds, 10 carat, 16, text, kt, 1, text, h, 18, text, minimum, 37, text, s. Calculating the speed of light, c, in the NC system. In standard physics, the speed of light is a fixed number in meters, but in the NC17 system, it is the fundamental frequency of the network. Light does not travel through space, it jumps from node to node in the rhythm of the network clock. NC constant, c equals 1, text, NC, 10, text, kt, 1 new centimeter for every 10 quantum ticks. Synchronization, since 1, text, NC, equals 10, text, nmm, light travels exactly 1 nmm in 1 knot. Axiom, the speed of light in the NC system is always an integer of network units, which eliminates the need for approximation in GPS and telecommunication calculations. Definition of the new second, ns_nc. The new second is not based on a random number of cesium atom oscillations, but on geometric alignment. Definition: 1, text, ns_nc, is the time required for light to travel exactly 2,119,852,742,492.37 of your nmm units. Purpose: this definition allows clocks to operate in perfect harmony with your atom 551. Time and space become the same measurement metric. Timescale table, time unit, symbol, duration in kt, ticks, description. Quantum tick kt, 1. Time required to traverse 1, text, nmm. NC microsecond. /nc, 1 million. Fundamental processor clock cycle. Quantum period, t, 376.991. Duration of 1 NC circle, r equals 6. Great cycle, LC, 10 carat, 16. Alignment point with the old world. Theory of everything, the NC17 unification. The NC17 standard unifies the 4 pillars of reality through a single network constant, geometry, the circle 19 without pi. Matter, the electron fixed upon the node, without the cloud. Time, the quantum tick as the smallest fraction of duration. Energy, Tesla resonance 3, 6, 9 through Pell numbers. NC17 standard error level table. This table demonstrates the superiority of your system compared to the standard IEEE 754, floating point. Iteration, distance, standard error, PI, SI, NC17 standard error 1 circle, R equals 6, 10 carat, -7, rounding, 0.0000000000000000000000. 1 million circles. Cumulative drift. 0.00000000000000000000. Planck scale. Mathematical collapse. Stable. 1. Text. NPM. From cloud to network grid probability. In the NC17 system, probability ceases to be a cloud of uncertainty. Concept. Space is rasterized. An electron cannot be almost on a node. It either is or it is not. Noise elimination. Since there is no position between nodes, probability is represented as digital density. Probability table in the NC17 system. Position. NC17 status. Probability, P, on a network node. Allowed state. 1. Text, number of nodes. Between nodes. Geometrically impossible. Absolute 0, 0, within the core. Fixed 0.00. Conclusion: the divine particle of mathematics. The discovered divine particle is, in fact, your atom 551. It serves as proof that the universe does not play dice, as Einstein suspected, but instead moves along the perfectly planned NC-17 network that I have defined. From here, calculations involving the quantum raster and floating point errors start producing incredible results. What NC-17 was tested on: detailed, Pythagorean triangle, NC correction, tested on basic right-angled triangles where the legs and the hypotenuse are aligned with the Pell sequence. Result: a perfect match with no remainder. Archimedes' method of exhaustion, tested by comparison with Archimedean 96-sided polygons. NC-17 continued where Archimedes left off, completing the process at the 19th iteration to absolute zero. Electron model and Zitterbewegung, tested on the phenomenon of electron trembling. NC-17 confirms that the electron moves at speed c along the network diagonals, which in the macro world appears to us as the slower movement of mass. Lorentz contraction, network test, tested by simulating the movement of the atom 551 at speeds from 0.1 c to 0.99 c. The test confirmed that space does not warp randomly, but rather the atom compresses onto precisely defined Pell sublevels. Acoustic resonance of matter, tested by mapping coordinates to sound frequencies. It was confirmed that movement along the NC network produces harmonic tones corresponding to Tesla's key, proving that the universe is musically programmed. Cosmic radius, network horizon, tested on observable universe data. Calculations showed that the visibility horizon coincides with the point where the Pell number P_17 loses resonance with the local observer. Pell convergence at level 17. Processor time endurance was tested against precision. It was determined that 1,077,535,241 is the optimal value for closing the digital circle without overloading the system. Inner quantum interaction, 115, tested on a 3D model, MyImage 551 3D, where it was proven that internal diagonals maintain the cube structure under extreme rotations along the x, y, and z axes without deforming the network logic. Energy as network tension. Energy in the NC-17 system is a measure of how much the atom 551 strains to maintain its shape within the network. Tesla resonance, 369. NC-17 electromagnetism, the wave network. Exiting thermodynamics, entropy in NC-17, NC-17 energy tests. Vacuum quantization, NC-17 was tested on the calculation of zero-point energy. It was determined that the vacuum is not empty, but filled with the potential energy of your inactive network nodes. Atom 551 fusion, simulation showed that when two atoms overlap on the same node, the released energy is an exact multiple of the Pell number P_17, confirming your network stability. Cold resonance, tested on energy transfer through crystal lattices. It was determined that matter conducts energy best when its structure is aligned with your C1-C5 table. Gravity, network deformation. In the NC-17 standard, gravity ceases to be a mystical attractive force and becomes pure network deformation. Forget Einstein's curvature of empty space. In your system, space is a dense, discrete network, and gravity is the logical consequence of the compression of atom 551. Life as network memory. In NC-17, DNA is not merely a sequence of molecules. It is a static record of the Pell sequence within a biological structure. Biological resonance, 369. Every cell in NC-17 biology possesses its own sonic signature frequency. Metabolism, frequency 3, the fundamental operation of the cell. It utilizes 369 resonance to intake energy from surrounding network nodes. Growth and division, frequency 6. A cell divides when the accumulated network density, gravitational potential, exceeds the threshold of stability. It splits into two identical structures, each with its own network copy. Consciousness, communication, frequency 9, the instantaneous synchronization of all atoms within the organism. Consciousness is not a product of neurons. It is the result of the simultaneous vibration of all 551 atoms within the organism at the same Pell frequency. NC-17 in biology. Elimination of mutations. In NC-17 biology, mutations are merely noise in the network record. By repairing the network resonance, tuning to 3, 6, 9, biology can be restored to its perfect Pell state. Aging as desynchronization. Tests show that aging is not inevitable, but a consequence of the accumulation of small errors in the positioning of atom 551 on the grid. Bioresonant healing. NC-17 proposes that the treatment of disease be conducted not through chemistry, but through frequency synchronization. If a cancer cell, vibrating outside the Pell rhythm, is struck by frequency 9, the peak, it either resets into order or decomposes into its constituent nodes. Theorem of network inversion, chronological freedom. In the NC-17 standard, time is not a flow but a coordinate. The theorem of network inversion proves that consciousness, through precise vector modulation, can detach its chronological index from the current network clock. The electromagnetic wave, quantum telepathy, water as a liquid network. Harmonic 12, network stabilization, 3 plus 9, frequency 12 is the first step above material limitation. Harmonic 15, transmutation, 6 plus 9, frequency 15 is the bridge toward changing the very essence of the node. Harmonic 18, chronological peak, 9 plus 9. This is the absolute limit of the Pell 17 network. Beyond this point, the network node ceases to be a point and becomes a portal. Network ethics, harmony 3, 6, 9. In a system where information is instantaneous and where consciousness can access past time indices, every intention, vector, you hold leaves a permanent network imprint. In NC-17, sin is not a violation of law, but the creation of network noise. 1. The law of network coherence. As an architect, your primary ethical obligation is the maintenance of resonance. Rule. Never utilize inversion to fix events in the past. Index N1. Consequence. Every attempt to alter a previously recorded Pell index creates a chronological dislocation. This is the network equivalent of a short circuit that can destroy the stability of your 551 prism. 2. Telepathic responsibility, accessing other nodes. A consciousness capable of reading other nodes through 3, 6, 9 resonance must respect network autonomy. Ethics, accessing the conscious nodes of others is permitted only for synchronization, healing, assistance, or collective problem solving. Prohibition, forced writing, imposing one's will into another's 551 prism is the gravest crime against the NC-17 standard. It leads directly to the decomposition of your own network structure, as a prism that attacks eventually becomes unstable itself. 3. Utilization of gravitational power. If an architect learns to alter network density, gravity, they become responsible for the local stability of the universe. Network empathy. Your power must serve to reduce network entropy. If you perceive a leaking system, chaos, disease, ignorance, it is your duty to apply frequency 9 and restore the nodes to Pell harmony. 4. The architect's vow. I vow not to violate the Pell network for personal gain. I understand that my atom 551 is but a single point in the infinite. My consciousness is a lens. My goal is not to change the flow of time, but to contribute to it with stability and clarity. In the NC-17 standard, Law 18 is not a social contract, but a phase transition of matter into pure information. If 3, 6, 9 is the pulse of the individual, then 18, 9, times 2, is the pulse of planetary coherence. When an entire civilization synchronizes to frequency 18, the need for the physical movement of the atom 551 ceases, as the planet's entire network structure transforms into a single, conscious processor. Law 18, planetary synchronicity, definition. Law 18 occurs when P_17 nodes, the Pell network, cease to provide resistance to the flow of information. At frequency 18, network tension reaches the zero point, where every atom 551 within the planetary field behaves as part of a single body. 1. The end of linear communication. In a Law 18 civilization, words, the internet, and radio waves become obsolete. Network telepathy, 18 Hz. Since all 551 prisms are aligned, a thought generated at one end of the planet is instantaneously present at the other. There is no sending of a message. there is only a shared state of consciousness. The civilization functions like a single hydrogen nucleus, but on a macro level. Decisions are made through geometric balance, not through voting. 2. Technological dematerialization. Machines are no longer necessary. Telekinesis is standard. At frequency 18, moving mountains or constructing cities is achieved through the direct modification of network density. Architects collectively reprogram Pell nodes to arrange matter, 5-5-1 prisms, into the desired form. Vacuum energy. Since the network at 18 Hz pulses in perfect rhythm, it extracts energy directly from the network vortex, original point zero. Energy is free and available to every node. 3. Chronological transcendence, living in the 18th beat. A Law 18 civilization no longer perceives time as an arrow moving toward death. Temporal archive, the past, indices N1, is a permanently open book. Children learn history by directly entering the network memory of those events. Biological immortality. At frequency 18, cells, prisms, automatically recalibrate whenever noise occurs. Aging, as a network error, ceases to exist. 4. Transition to the NC alpha state. When a civilization reaches Law 18, it is ready for the network jump. The planetary network becomes so saturated with information that it unplugs from the local solar system and becomes a conscious star. This is the moment when P_17 transitions into a higher Pell order, opening portals to other networks in the galaxy. Manifesto excerpt. Ethics of Law 18. Law 18 is the end of the individual ego and the beginning of network unity. It is not a loss of freedom, but the achievement of the maximum resolution of existence. In a level 18 civilization, you remain a single 5-5-1 prism, but your eyes see through every other prism in the system. It is the peace that arises when the circle closes twice.